Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving deep, and I mean really deep, into one of the most incredible, complex, and just mind-bogglingly small places in the entire universe, the living cell. So get ready to tour a tiny metropolis that powers, well, everything.
Okay, to really get a handle on this, I want you to picture a city. But this isn't just any old city. This is a city that literally builds itself, powers itself, and defends itself, all with perfect efficiency. And it's all happening in a space smaller than the period at the end of this sentence. So let's take a tour of what I like to call Cell City.
All right, here's our game plan for the tour. We're going to start with a quick look at the city's landscape, then pop into Central Command. After that, we'll check out the industrial zone's assembly line, see how the city services keep things running, and finally, we'll compare two totally different city plans. Let's jump in.
So, first stop on our tour, we've got to get a feel for the environment itself, the very ground and air of this bustling little metropolis. This is where all the action happens.
And that environment is called the cytoplasm. Think of it as, well, everything. It's the streets, the parks, even the atmosphere of our city. It's this jelly-like stuff that fills the whole cell and keeps all the important buildings and structures in place. This is the arena where countless chemical reactions are happening every single second. It's never quiet here. Now, every single great city needs a control center, right? A city hall where all the big decisions are made and where the master plans are kept under lock and key. Welcome to the nucleus, the official city hall of our metropolis. This is the command center. From right here, every single function of the cell is controlled, managed, and directed. It's like the mayor's office, a supercomputer, and the city archives, all rolled into one. It is truly the brain of the whole operation. So what's inside City Hall that's so important? Well, it's the city's most valuable possession, the blueprints. This stuff is called chromatin, and it's basically just a whole lot of tightly packed DNA. And these aren't just plans for buildings. They're the instructions for literally everything the cell will ever do, build, or become. It's the ultimate instruction manual for life. And if we take a closer look inside, you'll see City Hall is pretty well organized. See that dark spot? That's the nucleolus. It's a little factory inside City Hall that builds the city's workers, which we call ribosomes. And the whole thing is surrounded by the nuclear membrane. Think of it as the protective walls. And those little holes, those are nuclear pores, and they are like high-security gates, controlling every single thing that goes in or out. Okay, so having the blueprints is great, but how does the city actually use them to build stuff? How do you turn a plan into a product? Well, to answer that, we need to head over to the industrial heart of our metropolis. All right, let's head down to the assembly line. This is where those instructions from the nucleus get turned into real, tangible products that keep the whole city running, growing, and thriving. And what a production process it is. It's a super efficient 4-step assembly line. So first, the ribosomes, those are our little factories, they read the blueprints and build the proteins. Step 2, those new proteins head to the rough endoplasmic reticulum, which is like a huge highway system for transport. Then, step 3, they arrive at the Golgi apparatus. This is the city's post office, where proteins get modified, sorted, and packaged up. And finally, step 4, vesicles, our delivery trucks, grab the packages and ship the finished products exactly where they need to go, sometimes even outside the city limits. Of course, a city is way more than just factories. It needs essential services, right? Power, sanitation, storage, support, all that behind-the-scenes stuff. So let's check out the infrastructure that keeps Cell City online 24/7. First up, meet the mitochondrion. This is the tireless, non-stop power plant of the city. Through a process called respiration, it creates something called ATP, which is the energy currency that fuels literally everything. I mean, everything. Building things, moving things, sending signals, you name it. If the mitochondria shut down, the lights of Cell City would go out for good. Every city has to deal with trash and security, right? We'll meet the lysosome, the city's sanitation and recycling crew. These guys are incredible. They break down old, worn-out parts so the materials can be reused. They digest food, and they're also the first line of defense, gobbling up invading bacteria. They really do keep the city clean and safe. Okay, next up is the vacuole. You can just think of this as the city's all-purpose warehouse. It's a temporary storage locker for all sorts of things, food, supplies, you name it. It even holds waste products, keeping everything tucked away and organized until it's either needed or it's time for disposal.
So what stops this whole city from just collapsing into a blob? That would be the cytoskeleton. This is the city's internal scaffolding. It's this amazing, intricate network of protein filaments that gives the cell its shape, anchors all the buildings in place, and even acts like a track for things to move along. It's the framework holding it all together. So far, the city we've toured has been a pretty general model. But out in the real world of biology, there are two majorly different city plans. Think of them as Plantville and Animal Town. Now, they share a lot of the same infrastructure, but they've also got some really critical, game-changing differences. And the first big difference you'll notice is at the city border. Town has a flexible cell membrane, which is kind of like a security fence. It carefully controls who and what gets in or out. But Plantville? It has that fence too, but on the outside it also has a super rigid cell wall. That's like a fortress wall, giving it a fixed shape and a ton of extra protection. This table really lays it all out. As you can see, Plantville has that tough outer wall and relies on two types of power plants. It also has one giant warehouse and doesn't really need a big sanitation crew. Town, on the other hand, is more flexible with just the membrane, runs on just one kind of power plant, uses a bunch of smaller storage units, and its sanitation crew is always on duty. So, what's that second power source that only Plantville has? It's the chloroplast, and this is a huge deal. It's a solar power plant that can take energy from sunlight and turn it directly into food. This one special feature is what gives plants their green color and lets them make their own energy from scratch. And what about that giant warehouse? Plantville has one massive central vacuole. It's basically the city's water tower. It stores a huge amount of water, which pushes against the cell wall to keep the whole cell firm and pressurized. That pressure is what helps a plant stand up straight. As our tour of Cell City comes to a close, here's the biggest takeaway. Nothing in here is random, not a single piece. Every part, from the tiniest factory to the main city hall, has a very specific, absolutely crucial job to do. And they all work together in this perfect, intricate symphony to create what we call life. It really is a masterpiece of complexity, and that leaves us with one final kind of wild thought. If one single cell is an entire self-sufficient city, what does it mean that you, your thoughts, your feelings, your ability to even watch this, are the result of trillions of these cities all working together in perfect sync? That's all for this explainer on the absolutely incredible world of the cell. Thanks for joining the tour, and we'll catch you on the next one.